Maybe it might be zero division error or value error, or maybe input or output error. So errors can occur in any code, maybe through users' fault or maybe through your own uh, code. So, and it's necessary for a developer, let's say a Python developer, to compile one's code in a way that it handles all exceptions that might occur in Python. So I don't want to talk much. Let's try out some code. I hope you guys can see my screen. Let's try out some code on how to handle exception. Can you guys see my screen? Hello?
Yes, we can. We can.
Okay. So let's try out some code on how to handle exception. Let's say, okay, I want to do a simple division in mathematics, and I ask the user first number to be equal to first number to be equals to int. Let's ask for user input, and you see that I specified that the input should be an integer. So enter the first number. Then let me ask for the second number from the uh, user to be int input. Enter, enter the second number. So assuming, okay, let's say my division to divide two numbers together. Let's say division is equal to maybe first number divided by second number. Then let's say you should print, so that's print division. So as you can see now, if I run this code, it will run perfectly. This code runs perfectly. And then but once the user enters a number that's out of range or that can bring error or exception, so the output, the compiler will raise an exception that there's an error maybe in the input, and then which will stop the code, because when there's exceptions like that, the code will actually stop and it will quit the code. So let's enter the first number to be 3, and then let's enter the second number to be 2. It will give us our number, our output, which is 1.5. 3 divided by 2 is 1.5. So now let's divide this first number by 0. So what do you think it will bring? Which error do you think it will bring to give me? So someone should tell me the error that I think it will give us. If I divide 3 by 0 in mathematics, normal mathematics,
Zero division error.
so it will give us a zero division error. So as you guys can see it started from trace back, most recent call last, then 5. It it shows the location of my project, of my code, of my Python file. It shows the location and even tells the line in which there is error, and then now shows the code by the line of code where there is error, and then it shows the exception error, which is very bad. Maybe a user is maybe testing uh, a code online, and then you enter something, and then it raises an exception. It shows all this stuff. It's prone to being the website is prone to being hacked if the person using it is a good hacker. So that's why it's good for a good developer to always raise exceptions when writing code. So now for us to raise exception here, so there are two things that we are going to do. we are going to do the try and accept. So we use the try and accept block. So what does the try do? So the try block is where you have to input the code that you want to run. So you put it inside the try block. So this means that Python, the compiler, the interpreter will try this code. If there is any error, it will. If there is an error and there is exception in your except. So if there is exception in your in the next block, which is the except, if the exception is raised, it will print out anything to you. That's what except block. If there's no exception, there's it's going to bring out error. It's going to raise its own exception. So now let's start with the try error. So let's work with the zero division error. We want to minimize the zero division error. So you just have to type try and then it is with a colon and then enter it. So this one, under this, inside this try block is where your code will be. The code that you want the Python interpreter, the compiler to try out. So it's the interpreter, the compiler will try this division equals to first number divided by second number. So if there's an exception, if there's an error in it, it will now go to the next block, which is except block. So you are going to raise an exception. Okay, as a developer that you have to check through your code. What are the possible sources of errors that can occur? Is it value error? Is it zero division error? Is it input or output error? Or any kind of error that you think can occur in Python. So in Python, I think we have different ways of raising exception. Number one, you can just put except, then semicolon, and then you print, say print, there's an error, sorry, print there is an error in this code. So let's just put it like that. So if you print there's an error in this code, let me comment this last line. So you say print there's an error in this code. Let's try out our code and see what will happen. So it asks us for the first number, which is 3, and then our second number, which is 0. So we did see the output. There's an error in this code. So we didn't actually raise, like if you use except alone with a colon in front of it, and then you write you go to your output. It will, it works for all type of exceptions in Python, be it zero division error, be it uh, with any if IO error, any error in Python, any exception in Python, it works for it. So now, what's now to specify which exception, which exception want to raise. So you can just say zero division error. So this one works for zero division errors only. So when we run it, see what same thing. 3 divided by 0. So it give us error. There's an error in this code, which is the experience outwards inside the except block. So now, actually try something else. Okay, I said my first number should be an integer, right? So let me just input. Let's say the user mistakenly inputs uh, a string. So let me enter a string and let's see what will happen. What did you bring out? Value error, right? So the input is meant to be an integer, but the user entered a string and then it showed an error, showed every details about it, which is very bad. So for us to handle this exception, what are we going to do? We are going to put our inputs like the variables, the two variables. We are going to put it inside the try block. So it's only the codes, the line of codes that are inside the try block that would uh, work when you are trying to undo exceptions. So all the codes that are outside the try and except block will not run. So it will always bring an error if there's an error in it. So let's change this. Let's copy this first and second number. Let's copy them into let's copy them into our let's copy them. So I've copied them into the try block. So let's run it and see. enter the first number. Let me enter A and see. So it's still giving me a value error. So you can tell me the reason it's still giving a value error. So I just want to be sure that you guys are following me. Are you guys following?
Yes, you typed A and A is not an integer. We are to collect integers, but
So
you inputted an
what
alphabet.
do you think? What do you think I can do to undo that exception?
You could use an except value error.
So yes, thank you very much. So I'm going
You're
to
welcome.
create another exception. So you can have multiple exceptions under one try block. So you can raise multiple exceptions. So let's raise an exception for value error in case the users enter a value that is different from what we are expecting. So I've created the value error. I've raised an exception. I've handled the exception for that value error. So now what are we going to print? Okay, enter the number. Let's say the number must be an integer. So let's try and run our code again. Let me enter A and then let's see what to bring out. Except value. Okay. Okay. I did not delete. Sorry. I hope you guys can see what's going on with this code. I did not delete the initial sentence, initial line of code. So now let's see. It's going to start from the first, enter the first number inside the try block. So, and I told you guys that it only works for the codes that are inside the try block. If you want to undo exceptions, it will only undo the exceptions inside the try block. So now, let me enter A and see what it brings out. So it gave us the number must be an integer. It did not show the error that was previously shown. So you have handled exception. Let's go back to our slide so that we can move forward. So the next slide shows the try and except block. This is how it works. So this is how it is. This is I think we have worked on this try and except block. So let's move forward. So let me explain this. They said if a statement in the try block or try suite raises an exception that is specified by the exception name in an except clause, then the code that falls under the except clause is executed. So like I explained, so the statement in the try block, if it raises an exception which is being specified in that exception clause. So using that except clause, okay, for that zero division error now, let's say the user enters zero, it divides a number by zero, it's going to give you zero division error. So if I did not raise that exception using that except clause, it's not run. It will just show those errors on my distance, on my terminal. But if you raise an exception, if you specify the exception name and using the except clause, so it's going to run the code that is after or that is within that except block. I hope you guys understand what they mean by that. So it means that if an exception is raised that is not specified by the exception name, the program will halt with a traceback error message. So it will stop and then it will give us a traceback error message, which will tell us the location of our file, and then it will tell us the line in which there is error, and then it will even show us the code in that line, which is very bad. So a way of avoiding this condition is by writing your code in such a way that any raised exception will be captured in the except clause. So if the statement in the try block run without raising any error, then the except block is skipped. So what does this mean? Let me go back to our code. Okay, this is that if I enter my first number, which is integer, so there is no error. Let's say a number greater than zero, and then my second number too is greater than zero, there's no error, it will run perfectly. So what is it going to do? Let me so I'll print outside here that okay, print if there is no error, print division. So to print the value for me. So that's if there is no error. So let's try it out and see. So enter the first number, let's say 3, enter the second number 2, and then it gives me 1.5. Why? Because there's no error, there's no exception. So that's what they meant by this statement. If the statement they try block error without raising any error, then the except block is skipped. So sorry, the next slide. So we've talked about this one, handling multiple exceptions. So how we can handle multiple exceptions? We have the input output error. So how do you use the input output error? Maybe when you are reading from a text file, you can handle some input output error. So that's not to waste our time, I've written a code on the input output error. I have a text file. I have a text file on my system, and then I want to read the text file. So I hope you all can see the screen. Let me delete this too. I don't want to waste time by writing all this code. I will explain everything in this code. So we want to try I want to I want to try this line of code inside the try block. So our interpreter, our compiler will try it. So what's the first code? They said file is equals to, we named the variable to be file, and then we want to open the text file. So I have the text file already, which you can see here. This is the database text file. So I now said database, open database.txt. I think they've taught you guys how to read and write to a text file. So open database.txt, then R. That R stands for reading. So you have to read from the text file. So now, when you are reading from a text file, you want to open text file. Okay. There are some errors that might occur. Okay. The first error might be, okay, maybe there is no file like a database there is no text file in my uh, in my folder. There's no file like that in my folder, or unable to open, it cannot open the text file. So this type of errors, they have been raised using the except IO error. So that IO error is input output error. That's mean. So if there is no file like database.txt, my except this except IO error will be raised, and then it will print the next line of code below it, which is print can't read file. So, but if not, there's no error. If there's no error in the line of code, it's going to read any statement, any line of code under the else block or else statement. So now what's the line of code? Let me delete this print C. I think it's no more of use in our distance. So I now named another variable, which is s equals to file.read. So it's going to read my file, and then to print s, that is, it's going to print each line in s. So I've stored all the lines, all the details in my database inside s, and then if I say you should print it, it's going to print all the data, all the or maybe everything inside that database. So let's run it and let's see how it goes. So as you can see now, you can see that it's read everything. Uh-huh. So it's chill. So you guys can you guys see the error that's what happened initially when I, okay, let me write .txt here. So let me run it like this. I said file equals to open database.txt, and this database.txt now, there is nothing like that in my folder, in my Python project. There's nothing like that. So it's going to print a the code, the line of code under the first except error. So this except IO error raises an exception for that error. So now it's not going to print anything that is under that block, which is print can't read file. So let's run it and see what will happen. So it can't read the file because there's no file like that in my project or in my folder. So now the name of the file is actually database alone, not database.txt. So now let's run this and let's see what will happen. So it showed me all the data. It showed me all the data in my database. So now what I want to bring out here is that I think you guys should be able to notice one thing in this code now. If you notice something, just let me know. If you notice something in this code, can you let me know? There's a difference in what I've been teaching in this code. There's something I added in this code that I've not explained before. Hello?
Is it the
Are you guys
else
following?
statement?
Yes, thank you very much. That's the else statement. So the else statement is the thing that I added. So what is the function of this else statement? This else statement, just like when you are writing your if your conditional statement, that's if else statement. If let's say if A is equals to B, print yes, they are equal. Else print no. So that first if, like if the first statement is true, it's going to print yes. But else, that else means if it's false, if it's not true, then it's going to print no. So that's the same thing we are working on here. The try block will run the line of code under it. If an exception is raised, if there's an error in the code inside the try block, if there is an error in the try block, it's going to raise the exception and then print can't read file. But if there is no error, then it's going to continue and uh, and to it will read the code coming under the else statement. So if there is no error, if no error is raised, if no exception is raised, it's going to read the code under the else statement. I hope that's clear. So let me continue with on the slide. So as you can see, that you can use multiple exceptions. I think I've done that in the first. You can raise multiple exceptions. I've done that in the first example that I did, which is this one. I raised except zero division error. I raised except value error. So you can also raise another error to maybe except IO error, and then any type of error you can raise it. So I want to teach you guys one thing. Uh, there is another type of error that you can. There's another way in which you can raise can handle exceptions. Another way in which you can handle exceptions in Python, in which it works for instead of using except alone, it works. This also works for all exceptions, all errors in Python. So now let me write it under this code. Let me say except. This one is except exception as E. Then it's going to print E. So that means it's going to read the exception and then it's going to print the last statement in the exception. So let's run it out. Let's run this code and see what will happen. Let's run this code and see what will happen. I will try and enter a zero division error code, which and then we'll see what the output will be. So let's say I enter the first number to be 3 and then I enter the second number to be 0. So now when I run this, it gives me uh, name error, name division is not defined. Oh, sorry, division is not defined. Where is that? Where's division? Let me exclude. Let's see. I'm coming. So as you can see, first number is equals to, I enter the first number, which is 3, and then I enter the second number, which is 0. I know normally if I divide 3 by 0, it's going to give me a 0 division error. So now, and now that was how I wrote this. That was how I raised the first exception, which is except exception as E. That means it's going to undo all exceptions in Python, and then it's going to print out the last line of of the error that's going to display. So now that's why it displays division by 0 instead of writing the trace back errors. You just give me the last error, which is division by 0. You know, actually in my code, the exception I raised for 0 division error is it should print there is an error in this code, but it did not print it because I've raised an exception, a general exception earlier. So I hope you guys can see that too. So the next one is using one except to catch all exceptions. I think I've done this one. So you can use one except to catch all exception, any type of error, any type of exception in Python. You can use one except to catch them. So for my Python code, you can either use except exception as E, so then it prints E, or you see, or you type except then your colon, then print anything that you want. Maybe you can print as, okay, for a general case now, you don't know if it's 0 error, a 0 division error, or it's value error, or it's file not found error. So but you can just raise a general error and say there is an error in this code. So we are not being specific. We are not being specific in this uh in this exception handling. So you know, I typed except, and then I said you should print there's an error in this code. So this one is going to ask for what is going to print out, what is going to deliver as an output. So about, since we are using only one except this statement for the exception handling, there's only one statement. That means we are going to specify, we are going to tell the user what the error is for. Since it's general, we don't know what the error is. We don't know if it's 0 division error that will come. So that's why I now have to print there is an error in this code. So the user will go back and check where the error is and then rectify the error. But that's why it's best to use except exception as E. So this except exception as E will tell you what exactly the exception is, what exactly the error is. So as you can see from my output here in my terminal, I said division by 0. So that means it's 0 division error. You can't divide 3 by 0 to give you a 0 division error. So that's what they meant here. So let's continue from our slide. So you can also display the exception in a message. So examples are shown in the slide. So I'm coming. So they said the else clause, the finally clause. So I've explained the else clause. The else clause will execute. The else clause will execute if there is no exception. If there is no exception in the code, if there is no error in the code, the else block will execute. Now the finally block will always execute. The finally block will always execute, no matter if there is an error in the code or there is no error in the code. The finally block will always execute. So anything you write inside your finally block will always execute. So let me say finally print uh, division. It should print our value for us, and then it should print thank you. I'm sorry. Don't print our value. Let it print thank you because it's what we want to do. The S block. The S block should print our division. S block print division. and then finally should print thank you. So let's run it and see what will happen. Except, okay, there's syntax error. Except must be last. That will line 18. Sorry. Okay. So let me delete this since I've raised exceptions already in this in the code. So now let's check it out. Enter the first number. If I enter the first number to be 3 and then I enter the second number to be 0, you need to give me 0 division error, right? So set division by 0. But you see it's executed this the first except block, which is except exception as E. Then it's executed it and gave the division by 0. The answer was 0 division by 0. Then it now went through all the code, all the except this thing again, nothing like that again. Then it finally reads out, it finally executed the finally block. So that finally will always execute in your code. So it's executed the finally block, which is printed thank you. So thank you finally block will always execute in your code. If you are using try except statement. So that will be, I think you guys should be able to practice more on this exception and how to handle exceptions in Python. You can work on, you can try and you can try this out on all the assignment that you've been given. The assignment that includes you asking for user input, and then maybe when when there is division in your code, or when any code that you even write needs to raise exception. So just try and include this exception handling in your code and see how it goes. So we are going to the next topic. So I don't know if the time, I will just rush through this API, how to work with API in Python. And then the last topic is a regular expression, which is known as regex. So I think I should just go with regex. Let me explain this regular expression, and then next class, which is going to be physical, we'll go more on other stuffs in Python, which include the API and other topics that might be taught in Python. And then we'll practice more next class. So what's regex? Regex, as I told you guys, that it's an acronym for regular expression. Regex is an acronym for a regular expression. So it's a sequence of characters that form a search pattern. That forms a search pattern. Okay, let's say I have a string now, and then I want to search if a number is inside the string. Normally you can use a for loop, or you can loop through the string, and then it will tell you if that particular string is inside your search string. So but now Python has made everything easy. You can easily import the module and then run your code in maybe few lines instead of using multiple for loop, or maybe one for loop to run your code. So regex is an acronym for regular expression, as I've said, and then regex can be used to check if a string contains a specified search pattern. Such a pattern could be whether the string starts with a particular letter and so on. So before you can start with regex, you have to import the module, which is which you call, sorry, let me comment. So you have to import the regular expression, which is RE. So import RE. So with that RE, you can use it to search for any pattern of your choice, search for any number, any string, any particular string in a set of, maybe in a string. So you can search for string in strings, and then like that. So let's say, okay, let's name our string one to be equal to, okay, this is the, okay, this, I'm coming, I'm trying to find a string today. Okay, let's say today is Friday. Sorry, let's say today is Friday. That's our string. And then now I want to search. You can write a very, can be a statement, can be a sentence, can be a paragraph, and you want to search a particular statement from it. It's very easy. So now, what I want to do is, okay, I want to search, I want to check, I want to match if a particular string, let's say let's say I want to check if is in my string. So now we have to call the module that I imported, then re dot, then what do you want to do? You want to search, you want to check if a string is inside my main string, then you type out the string that you want to search. So I want to check if is in my string, and then you write the name of the string which you want to check. So, and the name of my string, the variable is string one, str1. So that's it. And then what will I do? I don't want to just print that straight. If I say print A, it's going to print either true or false. So let's check. So it gives us array dot match object, then span 6, 8 match is, so there's a match. Then but what I want to do is, okay, if there's a match, tell us yes there's a match, or if there's no match, tell us there's no match. So let's say if A, then print, if there's a match, tell us print yes there is a match. So else if there's no match, what will happen? Tell us that there is no match. So you tell us there is no match. So let's print it and see what will happen. So yes, there's a match. Let's change our search string and see what okay, let me change it to uh tomorrow. You know there's no tomorrow in my code. There's no tomorrow in my code. So let me see what it brings out. So there's no match. There's no tomorrow in my string. Rather, there's no tomorrow in my string. So let's say today is Friday and tomorrow is Saturday. And tomorrow is Saturday. So if I run this code, it will print there's a match because there's tomorrow inside my string. So it has checked it. Another way, another way of checking, of searching for number. Okay, I want to let me say I want to check if, okay, let me quickly explain this. So let me explain this code that you are seeing on the screen. I hope you guys can see the screen. Hello, I want to make sure that you guys are following me. Please, if you are following me, let me know. So I won't be like I've been talking to
Yes.
myself since. Okay, thank you very
Okay.
much. So I want
Me
to
too.
quickly explain
You're welcome.
this line. I want to explain this line of code here. Import array. I've explained it already. You import the module which is array, regular expression, and then you name a variable which is string one. So this is a string used for regular expression example. So regex example. So that's the string that they want to use as our this thing, as a search string. And then now to find the pattern which you use to match and search if that pattern is inside your main string. So now, but here in this code now, they are asking for user input. They ask the user to enter the the string by themselves. So now, input enter the string you want to find, enter the string you want to find, then it's going to search. So that's why they named it search. Search is equals to re dot search. So that search is a function in our module, and then it's find, then it takes in two arguments, which is the find pattern, the number, the string you want to search, and then this the main string you want to, I'm sorry, the find pattern, which is the pattern or the maybe the pattern you want to find, and then the string one, which is the main string in which you want to find, search for find the pattern inside. Okay, we want to check if the pattern is inside. Sorry. So now that's how it is. Then now check if search. That means if there's a match, if search is inside string one, if it's true, if search is inside string one, then it's going to print yes, the pattern exists in the string, but else it's going to print no, the pattern does not exist in the string. So I hope you guys understand this. So regex can be used to check if a string contains a specified search pattern. So such a pattern could be whether the string starts with a particular letter and so on. So let's see. They said such a pattern could be whether the string starts with a particular letter and so on. I think yeah. Let's try and see if let's name let's name a search variable, and then let's check if our main string, which is string one, starts with today and if it ends with Saturday. So we want to check. So there are some characters that they use in regex. We still get to it. But okay, don't let me rush, and then when we get there I will explain it. So I just want to try and read through this line and then explain. But when we get to the character, I'll explain the character and then I'll run the code. So regex finds the application in search engines, search and replace dialogues of words and processors and so on. So you can replace words using the sub function. There are so many functions in regex in your RE module. So that we have match all, we have find all, we have the search function, we have the sub function. The sub function is just to substitute number. Okay, you want to substitute a number, let's say a string. You want to substitute maybe a letter or a string or a word in a string. You want to substitute a word in a string, so you can use the sub function. Then Python has a built-in package called RE, which can be used to work with regular expressions. So to use it, we import the RE module. An example is shown in the slide, which I have explained. So the next line. So now these are the functions that we have in a regular expression module. So now we have find all. So this find all now it returns a list containing all matches. So it's going to return a list that contains all matches. So let's see. Let's try and run the code and see. Okay, today is Friday and tomorrow is Saturday. So we have two is inside this our statement, inside our string. So let's find all the is inside our string. So we have to call the module re dot find all. Then you enter, you want to find is, and then check another argument, which is our this is our string, our main string. So let's print b and see. So as you can see, it returns a list of all all the documents, all the the words that matched our search pattern, our find pattern. So I think you understand this now. So we have search function. We have used the search function already, and I think uh, you understand that one too. Then let's check the split function. So the split function returns a list where the string has been split at each match. So this means okay, if I use the split function instead of the find all function, what is it going to do? It's going to return a list where the string is being split at each match. So that means the first match is okay after today. So that means it's going to split today and the rest of the code. So today is going to be in a list, and then the rest of the code is going to be still goes through again. If there is another is inside the next list. So if there is another list, it still split it again. So in this code now, in our string one, in this string one, let me drag in this string one that we are seeing, we are going to have how many? Look at them, how many lists that we have in this string one. Hello?
Please, could you go over the question again?
I said we have this string now, and now we want to split the string at every match. So I now said, okay, let me write the code. C is equals to RA dot split. I'm using the split function. and then I said let it split at every every time it sees is the word is, let it split. So now I'm not asking that how many lists are we going to have, since they say that it's going to split at every match and then it's going to return a list of every split. So now if is my match, is my pattern, is my search pattern, so how many in this string one, how many lists am I going to have?
I believe that would be two.
How many times? Are you sure it's two?
That would be two. There's two is.
I think we have three, because we have today, which is one, we have Friday and tomorrow, which is two, and then we have Saturday. So that means we are going to have three lists. So let's try and see which is correct. So as you can see, we're having three. So it returns a list. It returns one list, sorry, it returns a list, and then it splits the it splits the strings. So it doesn't return it as a list, but it returns it as a string. At every match, you're going to split it and then return it as a list. So then everything will be inside a list. So that's what they meant. It will be a list, but it now contain a string that is being split at every match. So I hope you guys understand. So that's why it gave us these three strings: today, Friday and tomorrow, and then Saturday. You can see that it is the two is that are missing here. So today is Friday and tomorrow is Saturday. So since we are splitting it at that match, so it's going to give us today, Friday and tomorrow, and then give us Saturday. So that's what they meant by using the split function. So it returns a list, just one list, where the string has been split at each match. So it gives us each string where it is being split at each match. Anytime it sees a match, it goes to split and then returns the string before it, and then goes further into our string, check if there is a match, and then split it again. So that's what they meant. So now the sub function. Let's try the sub function out too. So let's name the sub function d is equal to as a variable to re dot. Where I'm not using a good naming method or naming techniques. Okay, let me use sub. Let me use sub. Re dot sub. So I want it to sub. I want it to substitute to change this for me. Okay, what can I change? What can I change instead of, I don't want to change is because it's going to uh
The
change
day
my
of the week,
uh
Friday.
what is it?
You could change
Okay,
Friday to Saturday or
let me
something
change
else.
Friday. So let me change Friday to Saturday. I'll change Friday to Saturday, and then let me change Friday to Thursday. So if I change Friday to Thursday in my string one. So let me print the sub and let's see what to give me. So as you can see, it has been changed. It has been substituted. Today is Thursday and tomorrow is Saturday. That's how to change by using the regular expression. So you change any string that you want inside your listing. So this one, as you can see, inside your string, as you can see, this function accepts three arguments, which is the string, the word you want to change inside the string, the pattern you want to change, and then what you want to change it to. And then now the last argument is the string itself that you want to change. So I hope you guys understand. There's only one person that is replying me since.
Yeah,
Where are others? Are you guys following? Who is? Bade, Bada, Basirat.
I'm with
Hope you
you.
are following.
I'm with you so far.
Hello?
I'm with you
Basirat, are
so
you
far.
following? You
My
said
network is bad. My network is
your network
bad.
is bad.
I'm with you. I'm with
Okay,
you
maybe
so
you
far.
can go through the recording later. So
Okay,
they will send a link to the recording later so they can go through it.
I'm with
So
you.
let's
okay.
continue. We've used all the functions. used all the functions here. So the last one is the meta characters. So what do you want to do? Well, what does this mean? All these meta characters now, okay, they can be used in your regular expression. See the square brackets. The square brackets, when you are using it inside the regular expression, it's used to specify maybe a range of words or a range of letters, a range of numbers. So you can use it to specify A to M. You can see now for that in that example, they wrote A to M. So it's going to give you A, B, C, D, E, F. So that's what it means. It's going to search through that block, and then it's going to check if there is a match in it. So I think we can still try that out too, but there is no more time. We have 8 minutes left. I want to try one out, in which we are going to search if there is want to search if our our string starts with a word, and then if it ends with a word, with the same word. So we want to check that one out before we close. So the next character is the division slash. No, sorry, not the back division slash. So that backslash now, what does it mean? It signals a special sequence. So it can also be used to escape special characters. Like you use it normally in your code. You want to go to the next line, next line. Want your interpreter to print next line. You use backslash and n, right? So it's going to go to the next line of code. So now in regex, use this backslash now to check if a string starts with a word, or maybe it starts with maybe a letter or a word, and if it ends with a word, so use it to check. Use that backslash to check too. So you can use, I think, yeah, you want to check if it starts with a word, you use backslash a, capital A, and then enter the word that you want to check if it starts with, and then you enter your. I will send a link that explains everything about regular expression to the group chat, and you guys can follow that up. So then we have dots. This dot is a character. Okay, if you are writing an infinite series, now, you write, maybe you want to write 0 to 1 million. You can say 0, 1, 2, 3. You can say 0, 1, 2, 3. Then you can now put dot, dot, dot. Then you can now write 1 million, right? So now that's what this dot, also this character also is used for in our regex. So it's used to check any new line. Check the example now. They said he dot dot o. That means there are letters between the e and o that is not written there. So we also have this raised to power symbol. We have this raised to power symbol. So that means it's used to check if our word starts with something too. So you can use it to check if a string starts with a word. So you can use it to check that one too. And then the dollar sign, you can use it to check if it ends, if your string ends with a word. So you can use the dollar sign to check that one too. Also the star sign, you use the star sign with your dot sign. Dot stars means there is more than zero. So we have zero or more occurrences. We have zero or more words or more letters in between two letters. For example, now you can say he dot star 0. That means you have zero or more letters in between e and zero, e and o rather, e and o. You have zero or more letters in between, which is ll. So it's ll as omitted there. It's meant to be lo. So now, but instead of writing that lo in full, use dot star. So that means you have zero or more letters that are missing, more alphabets that are missing. So if you use plus instead of that star, that means you have one or more occurrences. So in this case, if if there is if you use dot plus and there is no more occurrence in your letter, or in your word rather, it's not going to run. It's not going to run effectively as expected. So then the question mark is used to check 0 or 1 occurrences. So that question mark is used to check 0 or 1 occurrences. Then we have the curly braces, which is used to find exactly the specified number of occurrences. Okay, you have HE, then we know that in between that E and O is only LL. So there are two letters that are missing there. So used to find the exactly the two occurrences, used to show these two occurrences that are missing there. So the number of occurrences that are missing, maybe is two, maybe is one, or any number. Sha. So then we have the uh, vertical line, which means either or. So it's or either there is either this false, or either it's this, either it's zero or it's one. Okay, if you want to match, you want to use regular expression now to match a phone number, you can use either the number starts with 070, and what's your starting, you use the raised power sign. Either it starts with 070, or it starts with, okay, all numbers start with 0, right? So you cannot say either it's continuing with 70, or then use this vertical line, then write 90. We also have, we use that vertical line again, 8180. So use that line to check to match numbers, Nigerian phone numbers specifically. So now let's try out a code. There's no more time, I know. So let me check the code. Let me check the code that I already wrote, because they are about to lock the door here and I need to go fast with it. So let me check this code and then explain it to you. I think this is the last page for me to explain. So you can see this code now. Hope you guys can see it. The line of codes I'm showing here, that I'm displaying. So you are going to import array, that's our regular expression module, and then the string one that you are using, that you want to find the string one. So this is string one. This is the string we are using to test our function. So now let's jump to search two. Search two. This search two now, what I want this search two to do for me is to tell me if it's actually, if my string one actually starts with this and it ends with function. Hope you guys can see it. So you can see that I use dot star. That means there are 0 or more
I don't understand that.
occurrences. What do you say? Hello? I can't hear
Okay.
you.
That's
Did you hear me?
that yeah, I'm hearing you. That argument, this does star function. What does it mean?
That's what.
Argument.
Sorry.
The argument you called
Okay.
in that
The
section.
argument. Wait, let me go back to the code. The argument in line what? Tell me the line.
Line 6. Line 6.
Line 6. Okay. We are using the search. We are using the search function. So what exactly are you asking? Which argument? Is it the first argument or the second argument?
The first. The first.
The first argument. So that first
Yes.
argument now, I said I want to use it to check if it checks, it search and check if our string, which is the second argument, if it starts with this and it ends with function. So, and you know that that dot star that I used in the middle means there are 0 or more occurrences in between this and function. So it's going to check our string if it actually starts with this and it ends with function, and then there are other words, other letters in between it. That's why I use the raised to power symbol, and then which means it's going to start our it's going to check if it starts with this, and then dot star function. Check it. Let's run it and see what to give it. So they said there is no match in string one. There's an error in there's an error there because who can tell me the error that is there? Said it's printed the end statement, which means there is no match in string 1. That means that our search 2 is actually wrong. What the argument what we are searching for is actually wrong. What's the error here? So because of time, they are about to log this editor. So let me just correct it. We are going to use the dollar sign, the dollar symbol. The dollar symbol dictates if it ends with function. So it checks if it ends with function. So now let's run it and see what it will give us. Sorry, find string is not defined. Oh, sorry. So let's run it and see. So as you can see, it has changed. It changed to there is a match in string 1. So you know I said this raised to power checks if it checks the next word in front of it and checks if it's actually if our string that we are searching, we are matching starts with that this, and then that dollar sign at the end checks if our string ends with function. Then the dot star in between means that there are 0 or more letters or words in between the two words that I've specified. Do you guys understand?
Yes.
So this is the last this is the assignment. I've sent the slide to the group chat already, so you can go through the assignment, and I think I will also explain it to you guys on the group chat with the voice notes. If you don't understand what the assignment is all about, you can actually drop a comment on the group chat and then or on the Slack workspace and ask questions. I think we're able to rectify that one, and then we answer you accordingly. So if you don't understand the assignment, just let me know on the Slack workspace or on the WhatsApp group chat, and then we'll rectify it. So thank you very much, and God bless you.
Because what's your username on Slack?
Thank you.
What's my name? My name is John. So you just search for Johnny on workspace on the Slack.
Thank
Johnny.
you.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.